Hi Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to show you how I did this card. Now I was inspired with this card by its fellow demonstrator Linda Heller, and I just had to hurry up and try it. It's just gorgeous, and I hope that you enjoy this, this video. So to begin with, I am using the stamp set Wonderland in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. I just love, I'm not sure about the reindeer antlers. But I love every other stamp in this set. Now, I'm sure I would love these if I figured out something to do with them. I just haven't yet. So if you have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. So to begin with, I am going to have all the measurements and everything on my website, all the supplies I use, but I just wanted to go quickly through what I have here. I have got a piece of rich raspberry cardstock. It is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have two pieces actually of watercolor paper. This is our regular watercolor paper, so this is cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just had a little strip left over, and so that's what I'm using for my sentiment. So to begin with, I'm going to come in with some Versamark ink and the tree stamp. And, you know, you can use an embossing buddy on there, but I don't care at this point if it has little white flecks on it, if it gets embossing powder around, because it's going to look like snow. And when I do this background, you don't have to really be clean. You'll notice by my hands that I've got ink all over them. Anyway, so I inked up the tree stamp with Versamark, and I'm going to stamp this onto my paper. And when I'm using watercolor paper, I do have a tendency to hold the stamp there for a while, because I really want that ink to get down into the fibers of the watercolor paper. So there you go. Then I'm going to take a dauber. I've got one here somewhere. Here it is. I'm just using one of our little daubers, and I'm going to put ink on it, Versamark ink, and I'm going to make a moon. And then I'm also going to take it, and this time I'm going to just rub it across the bottom here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because I don't care if some of it doesn't get embossing powder on it. So once I've done that, you certainly can't see much right now, but you will when I start to watercolor. So I am going to take my white, and I always use another piece of paper or some kind of a container to keep the embossing powder in. Just so that it's easy for me to get it back in the container. So I can just do this and then put it all back into the container. And I don't know about you, but embossing powder seems to grow. Once I open up a jar, I seem to then have more than fit in the jar before. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat set this with my heat gun, and you are going to be able to watch it heat. When it does, you'll see it melt. It takes a little bit of time, but you're better off when you're heat embossing to hold it into one area until that starts to melt, and then just move your gun around the paper. You're better off to do this than to just be running over your paper, because you're not staying anywhere long enough for it to melt. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes when I see people embossing, they're doing this, and that's not really getting much done. It's not melting your paper. But once it starts to melt, it goes fairly quickly. There you have it. Okay, so then this is ready to go. And of course, like I said, you can see a little bit in there in the shiny of what I have embossed. And you want to make sure that all of your embossing got melted. Now, I am going to use a couple of inks, and I'm just going to squeeze them and make a little palette in the lids of them, and that's Island Indigo, Rich Raspberry, and Pacific Point. I just love this, and the thing about this card is that you're never going to get the same thing twice. So once I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm using my aqua painter, and I have the tube there filled with water. I'm going to go ahead and get this flowing with some water, and I'm just going to brush water onto my cardstock. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm using the watercolor paper, so it's nice because it holds up to lots of water. But I want to get some water on there before I start placing my ink. And I'm going to start with the Island Indigo. And I'm just kind of laying down a base coat here of Island Indigo. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see how that embossing resists the ink. So I'm just brushing down some color. And then I'm going to come in with the Rich Raspberry and add some color into that. I know you're probably thinking, what in the heck? But when I get done with this, it's so beautiful. And then I'm going to come in with this darker Pacific Point and add in some shading, some blue. I think I might put more of a even line on the edge here. Just, I don't know, I kind of like the look. And you can see, I just put color on. It does not have to be perfect. Because as it dries, it's going to change. It's going to look different. Might even come in with a little more purple. Excuse me, rich raspberry. The more water you use, the lighter your color will be. If I wanted it to be darker, I would just use less water. And then once I'm done with this, blend that out a little bit. I'm going to take my aqua painter and I'm just going to get that water flowing out of there and then put droplets on. And it's actually, I do like quite a bit. And as that dries, the ink will, I don't know, it just moves the ink around. It's really cool. Just gives it a really different looking background. But that's as simple as that card is. Now the hardest part is waiting for it to dry, and if you don't want to wait, you can hit it with the heat gun, which I will probably do for this video just to speed things along, but I won't make you watch me do that. So I'm going to go and heat this, and I'll be right back. One of the things that you may want to do before you heat set that is you're going to take a paper towel and just wipe off the water and ink that's on your embossing. And that it just resists it. It comes right off. So I just wanted to give you that little tip. Okay, now I'm going to heat it. Okay, so it's probably not totally dry right now because it is still a little warped and it will flatten out as it dries. But I want you to look at the texture in that image. With those water droplets, you can see where it just kind of disperses the ink and sends it around. But no two cards are going to look the same. But that's kind of the beauty of it. And I love this card. It would make a fabulous sympathy. If you just put a sympathy greeting on that, you'd have a great little sympathy card. But I'm going to show you quickly how I did the banner. So I have the piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to come in with my rich raspberry, and I'm going to stamp this, and let's hope I get it straight. And then once I've done that, I can see that I actually have more room on this end to do a banner, so I think I might move it and just cut my banner on this side. And so I'm going to snip it a little bit here, up the middle, and then angle those like that. And that's how I'm going to do my banner for this card. And I'm probably going to put it on this side just because that's the way it looks good. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of the rich raspberry cardstock. And I actually used our tear and tape because this is a little bit thicker cardstock. The watercolor paper is a little bit thicker. I am going to use the tear and tape, and that'll make sure that number one, I get it on there and it's nice and flat. I love this because it's actually easy to use. Okay, and then I'm going to put that onto my card base. Beautiful. I just love this. Okay, and then the last thing that I did is I took a little bit of our silver cording, cut some of that off, and I'm just going to show you quickly how I did this. I added the cording like at the halfway point onto my card base here, and then I added the dimensional to hold that on there. And then it was easier for me that way to then tie this into a bow, because that cording is going to stay on my, right at the end of this piece of a banner. So once you have it on there, then you just need to just adjust your bow. I just want it to be a little one. And then take off the backing off that dimensional. I'll add another one to the other end of this banner and then attach that to my card. Really a fun, beautiful, beautiful Christmas card. And like I said, no two look exactly alike. And then on the inside, I just did the all is calm, all is bright with a couple little snowflakes using the same ink pads. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you like, visit my website and sign up for my newsletter where I give out tips, tricks, and techniques each week. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.